What's up, guys? I'm AJ Afterparty, and today I'm going to show you some techniques that were used to create the voice of Kylo Ren, the new villain from Star Wars Episode 7. I actually didn't know his name, I had to look it up. But yeah, I really enjoyed the sound design that they used for him, so I made it a challenge for myself to try to recreate it. It wasn't actually too hard, it was actually pretty simple, which was interesting. But yeah, so let's take a look.
So here I have some lines from the first few scenes of the movie that I recorded. You guys are gonna laugh.
Look how old you've become. You know what I've come for. The map to Skywalker. We know you found it. The one from the village, FN 2187. I'll show you the dark side.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think my voice acting deserves an Oscar. So there's two main elements to create his voice. It's the pitch shifter and clipping distortion. The pitch shifter does most of the work, and the clipping distortion aids to that. The rest are subtle harmonic or dynamic enhancements. So first here, I'll open up the sound shifter. The sound shifter basically takes this pitch and tunes it down 4 half notes on a keyboard. So here's how that sounds.
Look how old you've become.
It's also the voice when, the whistleblowers are on TV and they mask them and, they're in the shade. You can't see their face. This is the same effect. And the next one, that one's pretty simple. The next one is the clipping distortion. So I'm going to show you that. And there's a lot of controls and parameters for this, but just dial them in so that there's just a small amount of distortion. For this, I went through the presets and I just chose one that sounded close enough, and then I just dialed it in just to make sure that I wasn't too hissy, too boomy, or too much distortion. It has to be in the Goldilocks zone, just right. The noise gate has to be between the sound shifter and the clipping distortion. This basically eliminates all the hiss in between these sections, because when I play this, you're going to hear some hiss.
Look how old you've become. You know what I've come for.
The more you tune up the drive, that's going to make these parts have more distortion. So check this out.
Look how old you've become. You know what I've come for.
Pretty cool, right? I think it was there. I'll just go to compare. I don't even remember.
Look how old.
Yeah, I was there. Then the next one is the doubler, and this one's probably the most subtle effect out of all of them. It adds It adds a copy of the signal on the left and on the right, but it slightly detunes them. It pans them, and it adds a timing delay to them so that your brain perceives it as, well, you can set it, but it perceives it as either thicker or two different signals. So I'll add that, and I'll show you how that sounds.
Look how old you've become. Look how old you've become.
You would have to be on headphones to notice the difference on this one, most likely. Next is the Renaissance compressor. And the compressor is one of the most important tools for a sound engineer. It basically makes the peaks that are super loud the same volume as the peaks that are soft. So it flats everything out, and you probably won't notice this one too much on this, but it is important, and it also gives the voice like some snappiness.
Look how old you've become. Look how old. Look how old you've become.
It makes it like more crispy and snappy. Next is the EQ, and this EQ is ridiculous because I put such a ridiculous boost on 121 hertz. I boosted it 15 decibels, which is a ton, as you can see by this graph. I also boosted to around 2K for presence. I'll show you how that sounds.
Look how old you've become.
This is basically the meat of of the sound. Next, I'll use the Valhalla room reverb. Basically, this one adds like if you're in a room, it adds some depth to the sound. I have the mix kind of down low. The decay is really low. It's just for like an ambient. I have the cut a little bit before 10K. You don't need anything other than that. Higher, it's just a bunch of like hiss and frequencies you don't really need for this application. And the depth is how big the room is, like how deep the room is. Obviously, depth. Duh. So I'll play that.
Look how old you've become. Look how old you've become. Look how old you've become.
And lastly is the Fabfilter Saturn. And I really like this plugin. It's a saturator, oral exciter, and harmonic enhancer. It adds like a silkiness, snappiness to it, similar as the compressor, but it adds other frequencies in there, like just nice harmonic resonance frequencies. So I'll play it without it.
Look how old you've become. Look how old you've become. Look how old you've become. The map to Skywalker. We know you found it. The one from the village. FN2187. I'll show you the dark side.
Pretty badass, huh? Alright, cool. So yeah, I love doing stuff like this because it trains your ears as a sound designer and sound engineer. If you can internalize what you hear and replicate it using plugins, it'll make your mind more analytical when it comes to sound. If you're a music producer, you'll be able to get ideas by listening to other music and knowing how they made those sounds and some of the techniques that they used, and then adding that into your own productions with a twist. It makes you grow as a musician, sound designer, engineer.
Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Also, I'd like to let you guys know that I'm a producer up for hire, so if there's any projects that have any, you need audio work for either voiceover, music production, vocals, sound design, composing, scoring, please let me know. You can hit me up on my links there in the description. Also have some new music for you guys coming out real soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, peace.